Let's talk about Nigeria, a country with many different cultures and traditions. Nigeria is a land of vibrant diversity where over 250 ethnic groups coexist, each with its own unique customs, languages, and ways of life. This rich tapestry of cultures makes Nigeria a fascinating place to explore and understand. Sometimes the world doesn't understand these traditions very well. Misunderstandings can arise when people from different backgrounds interact, leading to confusion and sometimes even conflict. It's important to approach these cultural differences with an open mind and a willingness to learn. One thing people get wrong is how hospitality and culture work together, especially for women. In Nigeria, hospitality is deeply ingrained in the culture, and women often play a central role in maintaining these traditions. They are the keepers of the home, the ones who ensure that guests are welcomed and cared for. This video wants to explain these things better, show why some ideas are wrong, and celebrate the strength of Nigerian women. By shedding light on the true nature of Nigerian hospitality and the pivotal role women play, we hope to dispel misconceptions and highlight the resilience and grace of Nigerian women. We'll look closely at these traditions, showing what's true and what's not, and highlighting how rich and diverse Nigerian culture is. From the colorful festivals that bring communities together to the intricate crafts that have been passed down through generations, Nigerian culture is a testament to the creativity and resilience of its people. We'll travel to the middle of Nigeria to learn about the WIV people, who are known for being welcoming. The WIV people have a rich cultural heritage that is deeply rooted in their traditions and way of life. Their hospitality is legendary, and they take great pride in making visitors feel at home. We'll also talk about something called wife sharing, which is often talked about in a way that's not true and disrespectful. This practice has been widely misunderstood and misrepresented, leading to negative stereotypes and misconceptions about Nigerian culture. It's important to say that the word WIV3S, which is sometimes used to talk about this, is very disrespectful and wrong. Using such terms only perpetuates harmful stereotypes and fails to capture the true essence of Nigerian traditions and the respect that is accorded to women within these communities. We'll be respectful as we learn about real WIV traditions and how women make their own choices within their culture. It's crucial to approach these topics with sensitivity and an understanding of the cultural context in which they exist. We'll also talk about what women wear in Nigeria. Traditional clothing is an important aspect of Nigerian culture, and it varies widely across different ethnic groups. Each style of dress tells a story and reflects the values and history of the community. We'll look at the rules some widows have to follow about their clothes and the discussions about what's considered modest. These customs can be quite strict, and they often reflect broader societal values about gender and propriety. We'll see how culture and society influence what women wear. Fashion in Nigeria is a dynamic blend of tradition and modernity, with women navigating these influences to express their identity and values. Through it all, we'll show how strong Nigerian women are as they deal with these complicated issues, making their own choices about modesty and tradition. Their strength and resilience are evident in the way they balance respect for tradition with the desire for personal expression. This video wants to give a better and clearer picture of Nigerian culture, moving past the shocking stories and wrong ideas. By focusing on the lived experiences of Nigerian women and the richness of their cultural heritage, we aim to foster a deeper understanding and appreciation of Nigeria's diverse traditions. By listening to Nigerians, we can understand and appreciate the beauty, complexity, and changing traditions of their culture. Their stories offer valuable insights into the ways in which culture evolves and adapts, and they remind us of the importance of respecting and celebrating cultural diversity. Let's clear up something. The WIV people of Nigeria are known for being very welcoming. They really try to make guests feel comfortable and important, but there's a wrong and hurtful idea about their culture that says they share wives. This bad stereotype, often used to shock people, gives a wrong and inaccurate picture of the WIV people and their respect for women. It's really important to say clearly that the idea of WIV men just giving their wives to guests is completely untrue and very offensive. This harmful story probably comes from people not understanding or misrepresenting their culture, twisting it over time. Actually, WIV men are known for being proud of their families and protective of their wives. Many stories and people who know the WIV people firsthand say this idea is wrong. For For example, a court case in 2024 said that saying TIV people share wives is harmful and untrue. This shows how dangerous it is to spread false information. Also, if you talk to TV men, they'll tell you how important respect, family, and marriage are in their culture. It's important to understand that these stereotypes often come from a long history of colonialism and outsiders forcing their stories onto African cultures. To really understand the TIV people and their traditions, we need to listen to them and let them tell their own stories, so they can correct these harmful stereotypes. What women wear in Nigeria is a complicated topic, deeply rooted in a rich tapestry of cultural, religious, and societal influences that have evolved over centuries. It's connected to tradition, religion, and what society expects. The way women dress can signify their social status, marital status, and even their community's values. This intricate web of expectations and norms makes the subject of women's attire in Nigeria both fascinating and complex. There are many different opinions and practices across the country, but it's important to look at the rules about how women dress and how women make their own choices within those rules. In urban areas, you might see a blend of modern and traditional clothing, reflecting a fusion of global and local influences. Meanwhile, in rural areas, traditional attire often remains more prevalent, symbolizing a strong connection to ancestral customs. In some places, especially in southeast Nigeria, widows have to follow strict rules about what they wear when they are grieving. These rules are not just about clothing, but also about behavior and social interactions, reflecting deep-seated beliefs about death and the afterlife. These practices, which often come from traditions and beliefs about death and cleansing, can be harmful to women. The enforced isolation and specific dress codes can exacerbate their grief, making the mourning period even more challenging. Being forced to wear plain clothes, shave their heads, and stay away from other people can make them feel ashamed, less human, and excluded from social and economic opportunities. This exclusion can have long-term effects on their mental health and economic stability, further entrenching gender inequalities. Besides traditions for widows, what's considered modest is always being discussed in Nigeria. The concept of modesty varies widely, influenced by religious teachings, cultural norms, and personal beliefs. For some, modesty is a form of self-expression and identity, while for others, it can feel like a restrictive societal expectation. Some people see modesty as important because of their religion and culture, while others think it's just a way society controls women's bodies and choices. This ongoing debate highlights the tension between preserving cultural heritage and embracing individual freedoms. This shows how Nigerian society is changing and how tradition and modern ideas are sometimes in conflict. As younger generations seek to define their own identities, they often challenge traditional norms, leading to a dynamic and evolving cultural landscape. Even with these challenges, it's important to see that Nigerian women make their own choices about clothes and tradition. They navigate these complexities with resilience and creativity, finding ways to honor their heritage while also asserting their individuality. Many women are challenging strict rules, choosing to express themselves and their style while still respecting their culture. This balance between tradition and modernity is a testament to their strength and adaptability. From wearing traditional clothes in new ways to speaking up for more freedom of choice, Nigerian women are telling their own stories and deciding what modesty means to them. Their voices and actions are reshaping societal norms, paving the way for future generations to have even greater freedom and self-expression. It's important to clear up the wrong idea about wife sharing among the TIV people, which is often misunderstood and misrepresented. This practice, while controversial, is not the only issue women face in Nigeria. We also need to recognize that there are other unfair cultural practices against women all over Nigeria. These practices are deeply rooted in tradition and are perpetuated by male-dominated systems that continue to affect the lives and opportunities of many women and girls. These practices, often very connected to tradition and male-dominated systems, continue to affect the lives and opportunities of many women and girls. They are not just limited to rural areas, but are prevalent in urban settings as well, affecting women across different socioeconomic backgrounds. One of these practices is the harmful traditions for widows in some areas. Widows often face severe discrimination and are subjected to inhumane treatment, which can include being forced to undergo humiliating rituals. As we talked about, these traditions can include strict dress codes, being isolated from others, and even worse things like losing their inheritance. Widows are often left with no support system and are ostracized by their communities, and even worse things like losing their inheritance. This not only strips them of their financial security but also their dignity and social standing. In some extreme cases, widows are even accused of witchcraft, which can lead to violent repercussions. These accusations are often baseless and are used as a means to further marginalize and control women. These practices not only hurt women emotionally, but also prevent them from inheriting property, owning things, and being financially independent. The emotional toll is immense, leading to long-term psychological issues. Also, women not being allowed to inherit things is still a big problem in Nigeria. Despite legal frameworks that aim to protect women's rights, traditional practices often override these laws. Even though the Constitution says everyone has equal rights, the reality is far from this ideal. Women continue to face systemic barriers that prevent them from enjoying these rights fully. Traditional laws and practices often ignore this, leaving women with nothing when their husbands or fathers die. These outdated customs are deeply ingrained and difficult to change, leaving women with nothing when their husbands or fathers die. This perpetuates a cycle of poverty and dependence that is hard to break. This keeps women from having economic power, making it nearly impossible for them to improve their living conditions or provide for their families, making them dependent on others. This dependency is not just financial but also social, as women are often forced to rely on male relatives for support and unable to care for themselves and their families. This has a ripple effect, impacting the next generation and perpetuating the cycle of poverty and dependence. To fix these unfair practices, we need to do many things, including changing laws, educating people, and raising awareness in society. Legal reforms are essential, but not sufficient on their own. And raising awareness in society. Community engagement and grassroots movements are crucial in challenging and changing these harmful traditions. We need to challenge harmful traditions, promote interpretations of customary law that are fair to women, and empower women by teaching them about their rights. This requires a collective effort from all sectors of society. Promote interpretations of customary law that are fair to women, and empower women by teaching them about their rights. Education and legal literacy are powerful tools in this fight. And empower women by teaching them about their rights. When women know their rights, they are better equipped to fight for them and demand justice. These are important steps to create a fairer and more equal society for all Nigerians. By working together, we can ensure that future generations of women do not have to face the same struggles.